So let me just say, before I get too far ahead of myself here, that from a mechanical standpoint, I feel like Underground 2 is the superior game. I don't want to say it feels easier, but it feels better. Uh, More fair. Like, not only am I more in control of the mistakes I make this time around, but I also have a fairly decent chance of recovering from them as well. So from that point of view, I don't really have too much to say. I don't really have a problem. Um, with that being said, though, I do think that we still need to remove our rose tinted glasses and discuss a few things. Um, First and foremost, I want to address the map and I guess the overall size and length of the game itself. Now, is it really cool, a badass feature to finally be able to drive around in an open world and explore it to our heart's content? Yes, absolutely, without a doubt. Um, but I think my primary issue with it is that it, for the most part, is just a placebo. It's meant to be uh, filler to pad out the length of the game, making it feel much larger than it actually is. And some of the evidence that I have for that is that um, there's no implementation of a fast travel mechanic or a quick jump mechanic, whatever verbiage you want to use there, which ultimately means that whether it be to races, customization shops, or car lots, you're having to drive back and forth across this map God knows how many times, right? And then there's the fact that when you look at the chunks of the map that are being unlocked through natural story progression, it's really just to increase both the area that you have to cover in and the difficulty of the um, time trial segments. And it's not really like the game has to do this or be this egregious with elements like this because, you know, if memory serves, the first Underground maxes out at around, let's say, 102 or 103 races, give or take a little bit. And this one is more in the ballpark of somewhere between 130 and 140. So, right off the bat, right there, the base game is already significantly larger than its predecessor. So, there's that. Um, the other thing that I want to talk about is the plot itself, or I guess the structure of the situation that we find ourselves in. And I'm really hoping that as I go through this, there are fans out there that would be willing to kindly break this down and give me some clarity on it. Excuse me. Sorry about that. The first thing is I'm just not really sure how to read the narrative of this thing. Like, I understand the fact that our player gets involved in an accident and sometimes later, sometime later, hops on a plane and flies to the city in which Underground 2 is set in. But what I'm really kind of unclear on is the motivations in doing so. I don't remember the game itself really delving too deeply in an explanation of this, or if it did, um, I certainly don't remember it. Like, is this more of a trauma response? Like, did he get on that plane looking for a fresh start, looking to get back in the saddle, if you will, looking to rebuild his reputation within the street racing community, and it just so happens to be the exact same place where the guy responsible is located? Or did he get on that plane knowing exactly who this guy was and where he could be found, in more of a revenge tale sort of thing? Is it a little bit of both? I really don't know. The one thing that I will say about Caleb and the Wraiths, the antagonists, is that, you know, to the game's credit, it really does its best to build this guy up and um, sell us on him being this dastardly villain, right? Um, if we as the player don't succeed in knocking him off of his throne and running him out of town or whatever, then everybody is screwed. Basically, you know, all the blood, sweat, and tears that went into building this underground racing scene as it is goes up in smoke. My primary issue there with him is that he just comes across as too much of a dork to really uh, to really buy into. Um, but my other issue is, you know, my understanding is that the underground is meant to be seen or interpreted as illegal street racing, or at the very least, highly frowned upon in the eyes of law enforcement. Uh, Correct? And so, like, in regards to, you know, you being photographed for the covers of magazines and DVDs and things like that, mediums like that circulate outside the mainstream all the time. So that I don't really have trouble buying into or believing. But then at the same time, you have these car part manufacturers offering up sponsorship contracts. Or they're sponsoring these underground league tournament races and things of that nature. And so they're trying to get me to buy into the idea that these businesses would want to really come anywhere near or participate in any way, shape, or form with this criminal activity. I don't know. Maybe this is just something that, you know, stuck out in my brain that I've just been fixated on. I don't know. But overall, despite sort of its shortcomings, I don't really see them as being detrimental to my overall nostalgia for the game. Right? It's not going to change the memories that I have of playing it with my childhood friend or anything like that. I'm really just trying to explain that, you know, as an adult who has played it in 2024, who is able to notice different things and look at things a little bit differently, that it just might not be the masterpiece that I remembered it being. But with all that being said, guys, that is going to wrap this video up. And as always, until next time, take care of yourselves, and we will see you in the next video.